Classroom Practice 1.1. So we have to find out some information about what set different numbers belong to. So what I'm going to first of all do is summarize with a diagram the relationship between different types of numbers. To start with, we have the natural numbers, which are the counting numbers, like you can do on your fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. These numbers do not include 0. The set of natural numbers starts with the number 1 and increases to infinity. Does not include any fractions or decimal numbers, just counting numbers. The whole numbers are a set of numbers that include the number 0, and again include numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to infinity. No fractions, no decimals. But the whole numbers include the number 0. So if you think like a hole in the ground, it's a hole, it's a 0. It's one way of, I suppose, remembering the whole numbers. So the whole numbers include the natural numbers. Now, another type of numbers is called an integer. And the integers can be negative. So -3, -2, -1. Also include the number 0. And the numbers 1, 2, 3, all the way to positive infinity, and from -3 to negative infinity. However, the integers, which have symbol I, do not include any fractions or decimals. So the set of the integers includes the whole numbers and the natural numbers. Well, then there's another set of numbers, the rational numbers. And the rational numbers include fractions and decimals. Any two numbers that can be expressed as a ratio. For example, they include the numbers 0, 1/2, 1, 1.4, all the way up to positive infinity, -1, -3/2, -2, all the way to negative infinity. Oh, well, wait a minute. What about the number 2? Is the number 2 a rational number? Well, the number 2, I can actually write that as a ratio between two numbers. 2 divided by 1. 2 is a rational number. The number 10 is a rational number because that's the same as 100 divided by 10. Well, that's the ratio between two numbers, or even 10 divided by 1. So numbers that are rational numbers include negative numbers, 0, positive numbers, but also decimals and fractions. So these numbers, this collection of numbers, is called the set of rational numbers. Here, let me just circle them. Well, there are some numbers that are not rational numbers, and these numbers are called irrational numbers. Oh, and the set of rational numbers has the symbol Q. Q for quotient. There's rational numbers, the ratio between two numbers. Irrational numbers are numbers. Irrational numbers are numbers like pi. The number pi has no exact ratio between two numbers. It's what's called a repeating decimal number. It just goes on forever. Other numbers like this are the square root of 2, square root of 5, square root of 7. These numbers have no definite number of decimal places. They have what's called, they're non-repeating. They just keep on going. So the square root of 2, if you bang it into your calculator, you'll see 10 digits on your display. The numbers don't actually really repeat. The last number that would appear in your display is just like a rounded number. If you had a device that could calculate the square root of 2 to 1,000,000 decimal places, it wouldn't repeat. This set of numbers, the irrational numbers, are different from the other sets of numbers. However, if you take the irrational numbers, combine them with all these other sets, you get the set of real numbers. And real numbers include both the irrational numbers, the rational numbers, the integers, the whole numbers, and the natural numbers. Okay, let's answer these questions now using what we just figured out. So, question 1, is the set of natural numbers part of the set of whole numbers? Well, let me answer that question here. I'm going to get a different color. So question 1, natural numbers. Well, here are the natural numbers right here. And the natural numbers are contained within the set of whole numbers. So yes, the natural numbers are a part of the set of whole numbers. Question 2, name the set made up of rational numbers and irrational numbers. Well, that set would be the set of real numbers. The real numbers are made up of the set of irrational numbers and the set of all of the rational numbers. So rational numbers and irrational numbers together are a part of the set of real numbers. Is 5/8 a rational number? Well, yes, it is, because 5/8 is a ratio between the number 5 and the number 8. Is the square root of 5 a rational number? No, the square root of 5 is actually an irrational number because it has a decimal place that does not repeat. It just goes on forever. A clue to help you figure this out. Just remember pi is a rational number, but any prime number such as 2, 5, 7, if you take the square root of that, it's an irrational number. Is negative 0.4 a whole number? No. Negative 0.4 is not a whole number. Whole numbers do not include any negative numbers. So negative 0.4 is not a whole number. That's the end of classroom practice 1.1.